Hello, this is Harry Paden. I am the host of Paden's Pulpit. Today, Season 2, Episode 18. The subject, Recording Your Story. Recording Your Story. Season 2, Episode 18. My pastor, for years and years, he's tried to get our congregation, visitors, and those who listen to record their stories. Now, what he means by that is that each of us has a story. You were born. You grew up. You lived. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. But that's your story. Recently, I hired someone to look into my family, the Paden family's ancestry. Man, the stuff that I found out, we found out because I shared it with my brothers and sisters. There's 12 of us. There were 12 of us, of course, some are not alive now, but I have 11 brothers and sisters in the Paden line. There are others that are connected to the Padens, but my mother and father had 12 children. Now, because of that, there are a lot of nieces and nephews and great nieces and great nephews. I'm a senior citizen, so, years and years have passed. There's a lot of young people. It's hard to share a lot of these experiences because it's just hard. You don't talk about those things that went on when you were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 through college. But it's important to record these stories because somewhere down the line, you're not going to be here. And your family needs to know when you got married, when you got divorced, when you first grew your afro, when someone discriminated against you. Many times we're ashamed of whence we come from. So we don't tell our children those struggles. We don't tell our children that we might have been loose. I said it. Some of us were loose. We were young. We were stupid. We did things. I grew up in the 70s. Sexualness was a whole different story then. But we need to be able to talk about it because it is the truth. You hide it. What are you hiding? You can't hide it from God. Let your children know. You have to let every relative know because it'll be all over the globe. But spread that information. And it doesn't have to be formal. It could be written out, piece of paper. It could be put on your computer, most likely put on the computer nowadays. Just start your story. It doesn't have to be a Stephen King story. But record your story. Unfortunately, my father and mother never sat down and talked to us how they got married, where they met, different historical stuff. So we will never know it. Never. Wow. On that effort, I, Harry Paden, am pleased to announce I don't do things small. So following my pastor, Reverend Cornelius Martin's lead, I am working on my story, and it's being done as an autobiography. And here's the title. This is my Exodus. Thank you, Lord. It's copyrighted, so I'm not worried about. Someone can use the same title, but it sure can't use my context. This is my Exodus. Thank you, Lord. Now, those who are biblically trained know that Moses and the Hebrews went on an exodus. That's a mass exit. That's one of the formal definitions of the word Exodus. When a bunch of people leave Exodus, get out of there. And that's what the Hebrews did. You don't know the story, you need to go to Bible studies or Sunday school. But for the purpose of my story, the word Exodus comes from the Greek root, not the Latin root, which is the one I just defined. See, I'm smart like that. I know things. You should study the roots of the words to really know the word. English was not a root language. English came along way after. But the Greek definition of Exodus, which is actually E-X-O-D-O. You a bad brother, Harry. I love English. I love language. But mine means the root out. Not like the roots in your hair, but like Route 75, Route 22. The root out. My root out. The root out of where? My root out of Harlem. Lived in an impoverished area of Harlem when I was born till the 4th grade. Then my family moved to Newark, New Jersey. We eventually ended up in the Scudder Home Projects on Mercer Street, which was at one time, well, it's no longer there now. It was named Murder Street instead of Mercer Street. So that lets you know my surroundings. Whoa. I saw a lot of things. Harlem. I was young. I didn't see a whole lot because, again, just wasn't a whole lot that we could see because we weren't able to go places. We were so young. But I was born in Harlem, home of the Harlem Renaissance, Rucker Park, the Apollo. So many great people were born in that great place. That's my legacy. I am a Harlemite. But we moved from that impoverished area to another impoverished area, Newark, New Jersey. I always say I was born in Harlem, raised in Newark. Nothing. All caps. Nothing scares me. But that's my story. So again, the title, this is my Exodus, all caps, thank you, Lord. And I start from the beginning, of course. Historically, the day I was born, what took place? The first chapter is called Harlem Hospital, because I was born in a great Harlem hospital. Goes to the next chapter, very long chapter, Newark, New Jersey, because I spent from the 4th grade until I left for college in the 12th grade in the great city of Newark, New Jersey. I talk about the ups and the downs. It's called Newark. And then in parentheses, education versus incarceration. I talk about the number of people who either were educated versus those who were incarcerated. And then you got to know that some didn't get either. Some of them just died. Then I go on to the next chapter, HBCU, Historically Black College and Universities versus Ivy League. How did Harry Paden end up in an Ivy League school? And then on this chapter, I haven't really worked on it yet. I'm still on my college years. But the next chapter is called May 29th, 1977. In parentheses, best day of my life. May 29th, 1977, best day of my life. That is the birthday of my beautiful daughter, Shahara. I have 6 kids. Only one is biological. They're all my kids, but only one is biological, connected to Naomi, connected to James Sr., connected to the Paden heritage. The rest are Paden through influence, and I love them all. I have 5 other children, but my daughter Shahara, the best day of my life. I'm going to describe that and how that changed my life. And I go on through the rest of my life. My autobiography, hopefully, because I'm getting older, and it's taken a lot to write this, will chronicle my life so that my kids, my great-grandkids, great-great-great-great-great-great-great will always have a written account of my life, my struggles, my good points. I talk about my trips overseas. I got paid 3 different times to travel overseas. Russia and the Soviet Union. When I was only 16, they paid me to travel because I was always the academic type person. Years later, I took 2 trips to China. I talk about my church home, Unity Freedom Baptist Church. And, it's a lot. This is going to be my 6th book. This is the hardest book that I have ever written. Because with most of my books, I use research as the tool. I'm a great researcher, and I use research as a tool. Find the fact, record the fact, put it together. For me, that's easy. That's how I write books. I challenge people to find factual stuff wrong with my books because I think I'm pretty good. Now I'm capable of making a mistake. But here, it's facts, but it's different facts. I can't find out my story in a book. There's not many people I can go to. My dear big brother's no longer with us. He's older than me, so he knew a lot of the things that went on. My younger brothers and sisters, there's a big gap. There's a big gap. Well, big gap, I say 5 or so years between us, and then, many more. But they don't know the story. They depend on me, and this will help them. I talk about things that I was talking to my pastor about it. Oh, I went through some different emotions. I talked about the night my mother died because I was there. I was in the ambulance, and how it affected me as I was recording it. I was going through emotions. It was like I was there. I talk about some of the racism that I faced. I talk about the different things in my life. And you know what? It's becoming very cathartic. Cathartic just simply means it's like helping me. Because many of those traumas, they were traumas. Seeing people get shot at while we out there playing basketball. Hearing about people go to war and then dying when they come back from war. They survived Vietnam, but they didn't survive the streets of Newark. I talk about all that. It's still a work in progress. I gladly announce it today, very near my beautiful daughter Shahara's birthday. The best day of my life was when she was born. Record your story. Everything I do is over the top. That's just how I am. I'm not bragging. That's how I am. That's how I am. Record your story. Record your story. To God be the glory. Those that don't know their history are doomed to repeat the mistakes that they made. Wish me luck. This autobiography is hard. Again, the trauma, the things that I talk about, the things that I remember. Oh yeah, that's right, that happened because I squash it. I squash some of the trauma because I ain't into the trauma. I don't get frustrated and say, oh Lord, I can't live. No, just the opposite. Like, get that stuff out of here. I'm Harry Paden. That's how I am. That's how I am. To God be the glory. Record your story for your kids. Doesn't have to be fancy. Mine is going to be in a book form. I'm a writer after all. Wish me luck. I'm on my college years. Then I have to talk about the rest of my adult years. I'm just on my college years. I've been working on this for at least 6 months. It may take another 6 months or longer to get it out. But as long as God gives me breath, I will get that story out. To God be the glory. My book entitled, This is My Exodus. This is my Exodus. Thank you, Lord. Soon to be published. As soon as I finish it. Not rushing it. Gotta get it right. 5. Record your story. If you can't do it, record it in a tape so your kids will have it. Please.